glasses. I can't see without my glasses. What's up, guys? Charles from Team Cog here, coming at you with my updated True Draco deck profile. This has changed a lot since the last time I had profiled it on the channel, since Utah. It is by far one of my favorite decks. I love the lore behind it. I love the artwork. I love almost everything about the deck. And the play style, I kind of don't like the play style because it's not a combo heavy deck, and I really enjoy combo decks. It's more of a strap your helmet on, just slam down with Masterpiece. But it has a lot of resource management and it does require a lot of thinking. So, I mean, a lot of people just say it's just summon Masterpiece and win, but it's a little bit more than that, because you have to think about what you have to make your Masterpiece immune to. You have to figure out the real appropriate time to drop him. Do you want to drop him on your turn or wait till your opponent's turn to cause more disruption? How do you want to play it? And I utterly just love the deck too, because it's a deck that can go first or second, which I think is phenomenal in this format. It has the ability to go first with card Demise and the floodgates and etc. and establish your board and almost make it unbreakable, except for, you know, the evenly match, which we'll just take that out of the equation for now. Or it has the ability to go second and break boards with this 2 Draco spell and traps. And I liked going first for a while in my old build, but in this one I like going second a lot more because it allows you to get full utility out of your spell and traps. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the main deck. The main deck should be 40 cards. Is 40 cards last time I counted, but 2 Masterpiece. He is the boss monster of the deck. He is I don't know how to put it. He's Jesus. He's our Lord and Savior, so he is awesome. He slams down the field. You know his effect. He gains immunity due to what you attributed him with. Spell traps or monsters. He has the ability of during the player's turn to banish a continuous spell or trap and destroy a card. He is busted, especially when this guy... It's normally very terrifying for your opponent to stare this guy down going first, but when your opponent is mid-combo or mid their turn and you're able to activate your trap and then drop this guy in the middle and interrupt him, so now, like, if you attributed a trap or spell, you've disrupted them. And then also his arrival on the board during their turn is much more, I think, impactful than it is just him sitting there. But to each their own. Whoever play it however you want. But then after that, you play 3 Maiden. 3 Maiden is, I think, is like a must now since we're missing our Dynamite Knight. She allows you to just... She's a good tribute summon, I guess. She's not as good as Dynamite Knight, but she's the next best. She allows you whenever your opponent, activates an effect, you can add a True Draco monster from your deck to your hand. And then, of course, you play the one of Ignis. And Ignis, I really like Ignis. I honestly wish they would have just hit Dynamite and left Ignis alone, but I understand why they had to do what they did. But Ignis, if you don't know what he does, he is, whenever your opponent activates an effect, you can either set or add or activate from your deck a Draco spell card. So he's good. This is it for the Draco lineup. I don't think I would potentially change it. I really like playing pure Draco. I wish I could play Draith in here still, but with the coming format and hand traps and stuff like that, Draith is just not as good as the card that I sided him out for him. So that's it for the True Dracos. And then now I play 3 Amano-Iwato. Now, if you remember my previous build, if you watched the video, it was 2 Draith and 1 Chicken, or Muriamne, excuse me, if you guys don't know. I call the True Draco Phoenix the Holy Chicken. But I took it out because I thought about testing this guy, and I'm just a purist-like guy, so if I can play the deck pure, I want to. And in testing with the deck pure, like, of course, like, you're able to get better, how do I put it, you can summon Draith, the general, and then have an erupt, so, like, that's good and dandy. But he doesn't protect from hand traps and, like, ogres and effect veilers. Effect veiler doesn't harm this deck too much, but ash ogres, they hurt this deck quite a bit. Ashing the diagram, ashing the desires, duality, demise, or ogre in the diagram, ogre in the trap, anything like that. Those hand traps hurt. But this guy is what allows the deck to play first or second. Playing first, you can summon this guy and not have to worry about your opponent's hand, so you can successfully draw your cards, set up your board, and establish your field. Going second, you just normal summon this guy and it shuts off all their cards. I guess a prime example is Pendulum Magicians. They can set up that board of Decode, Vortex, and Arito, and now they're able to set up Hope Harbinger. You just normal summon this guy and shut them all off, and then you just can break their board. And that's why I really think this deck is really good going second now. I think it's better going second now than it was before, for the simple fact that you can get full utility out of your spell and traps by going second. You can summon this guy and shut off everything, so you have the safety of destroying your opponent's board and establishing yours, so now your opponent has to play at your tempo instead of having to catch up to theirs. But 3 Amano-Iwato, I think he's better than an Inspect Border personally, but it's up to personal preference. That's it. I can't. Ever since I've taken out the two general and the 1 phoenix, these have put in work. This is a fair trade, I guess. So that's it for the monsters. Is the 3 Amano-Iwatos. So now I'll just take you to the spells, which of course is pretty standard spell lineup. You play 3 diagrams, 3 double Ds. If you guys, whoever doesn't know what this card does, has probably been living under a rock, but it's your searcher. It allows you to pop cards from hand or field. It allows you to search for any True Draco card that you need. I found that this card, this True Draco itself is a pretty hard deck to side against, because if you put in, I guess, Fog King or Mask of a Strict, this card plus either the spell or the trap inherently just out that card. So this card allows you to stop the problems, stop those floodgates that stop you before you even start getting your train going. But without diagram, with diagram, you play 3 terraforming, so theoretically you're playing 6 diagrams. And when I played 3 terraformings before, I liked playing the Holy Chicken, because if you open multiple terraformings, you would gain more than just a 0. You wouldn't just even out. You would get at least a plus 1 off of popping the chicken. But in this deck, I feel like you want to see diagram just as quick, and by playing just 2 terraforming, you're not going to see it as quick. And I think that diagram is such an essential to going second that it allows, if Amano-Iwato plus diagram, having the ability to search your spell and traps just breaks apart your opponent's board. So I think it's very necessary to play the 3/3 so that you get to the diagram, so you can start using your popping your spell and traps to start just breaking apart their board, so that you can finish them off with a masterpiece or whatever. But that's it for the spells, or not the spells, excuse. That's it for these guys right here, and then. Time for the True Draco spells. I play 3 True Draco Heritage. True Draco Heritage allows you to get an additional normal summon of a True Draco. What else? It allows you to draw up to 3, depending on what True Draco cards were sent to the graveyard the turn you activate it. Monster, spell, or trap. It's I think it's essential. I don't think a lot of Draco players or a lot of people realize how good this card is. Even if you brick and you open up with just a diagram. We'll say you open just diagram and this, and let's say all your other cards have been stopped. Just by simply, and assuming that none of your other cards are Draco cards, you just activate the diagram, pop this to search itself out, then you activate it to draw 1 card. So it can essentially get you, it can essentially get you out of predicaments or draw you into maybe some of your more powerful pushing cards. But Heritage, I really like Heritage. It is great. Then 3 Disciples. Disciples, I want to say it's not as good as Heritage, but in its sense, it's better mid to late game. Than Heritage is, because this allows you to grind more, and as much as Dracos can't OTK and as much as they have the potential to, sometimes the deck is just grindy because the amount of interactions your opponent can do, and sometimes they do have the appropriate answers to stop stuff and stuff like that, etc. But this allows you to shuffle back your True Draco cards and continue playing, and it lets you draw one. It also gives you an additional tribute, so you can tribute, if you open a Amano-Iwato, these 2 spells here allow you to tribute a True Draco along with this guy. But I found in the deck that you don't want to do that. You'd much rather search, if you can, for a trap and disrupt your opponent on his turn by tributing. But that's it for the True Draco spell and traps. I love the artwork of this card. It's probably one of my favorite artworks. But now on to the main heart and soul of the deck. 3 Demise. Demise is by far, I think, the most powerful card in this deck. I think it is MVP of the deck. It's one of the few decks out there that can play with this card, and that's why I don't think this card will get hit, because I don't think this card will ever get hit, to be honest with you, because this card's just so good, but it's only certain decks can play it, which makes it broken in those decks. But essentially this deck will just lose to itself. You'll get wonky draws, and where you'll demise into another Demise, and maybe a Pot of Duality and a Pot of Desires, and you've already used those. The deck inherently just loses to itself. But 9 times out of 10, you won't lose to itself. You'll win. This deck has such a good win-lose ratio that it wins more than it loses. I plan on getting the secrets and upgrading these to secret too in the new Kaiba collection. So maybe maybe if some few changes come out, you'll get to see the deck all secret rare and shiny out. But if you guys don't know what card Demise does, it allows you to draw up to 3 cards, depending on the cards you have in your hand. Then at the end phase, you just card your entire hand. It is just great. It's a top deck card worthy. I'd much rather top deck this than anything else in my deck if I'm surviving on a top deck, because this right here will immediately get me 3 cards, just right off the bat. And it has good synergy with the Amano-Iwato, because during the end phase you can have Demise resolve first, and then the Amato will bounce back to your hand. But other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're playing True Dracos if you're playing True Dracos and you're not playing like Invoked version or anything like that, and not playing Demise, you're doing it wrong. Then you play 3 Duality. In my previous build when I went to Utah, I only played this at 2 because I didn't want to open multiples or end up drawing into multiples, because it is a hard once per turn, and I didn't want to clog with it. But when I dropped Drayeth out and I realized that I need to dig and get to my True Dracos along with Amano-Iwato quicker, I bumped it up to 3 because I just needed to see it at least once going first, and then just dig for a Draco or Amano-Iwato. And then finally, for the last of the draw cards, 2 Desires. I don't want to play 3 because I don't want to draw into Desires off of Desires, and I don't want to open multiples of it. So I think 2 is a perfect number. I think this ratio, even though I still feel like Duality would be better at 2, but for consistency issues, I think that Duality at 3, 3, 3, 2 is the perfect ratio for these. I feel like if you have this at any more or any less, it's just not worth it. Playing it at 1 is not worth it whatsoever, because you want to at least see it or draw into it off of your draws through Heritage or Disciples. And having it at 3 is just too much, because you'll end up desiring and possibly end up drawing in Desires off of Desires, which is horrible. I've seen games just be lost because of that fact that you draw Desires off of Desires, and it's not a card you need, a combo extender or anything like that. But that's it for the draw spells, and then now for the final spell is Stormforth. I have mixed feelings about this card now. I personally will keep it in because I like it, but in theory, when I was playing the General and whatnot, you had a bunch of Tribute Summonable cards, and now that you're playing Amano-Iwatos here, you've cut down your Tribute Summon line, so the possibility of you opening or getting a Maiden or Masterpiece or even Ignis here, and using this to tribute it away is very small. It's down. The percentage of you that happening is down now, but it is it's an out to Beals. It's an out to problematic cards on the field, which I think is necessary for you to out, because sometimes like you just can't. Beals is a prime example. I had to play this weekend in Cheyenne, Wyoming's locals, and I banished this, and it was an epic like anime showdown between Beals and Masterpiece staring each other down, and each one could not get rid of the other. So I just had to continually draw until I got to my Erupt, and then when I got to my Erupt, it was all over. But I think it's good at a one-off. If you guys don't know what you can do with quick play spell cards just in general, with Diagram, is you can activate Diagram, then chain the quick play spell to Diagram, and then the chain resolves backwards. This will resolve, but cards remain on field till the chain resolves. So this is on field in time for Diagram to target it face up and send it. So you theoretically should just activate this from hand, destroy this off a Diagram, and get a search, which is a really cool interaction that the deck has. But on to the traps. The traps are pretty. 3 Apocalypse and 1 True King's Return. 3 Apocalypse because you got to play 3 now, and I don't think he ever played less than 3. And 1 Return because it's 1 Return. It's at 1. And during this last weekend at Cheyenne, Apocalypse came in clutch because it can activate during the damage step, which I think is very unique. But these cards right here allow you to break those boards that are monster heavy, like the Pendulum Magicians. The only card they have that can stop this is Decode. So like you can just tribute this from Maiden and pop the Naruto or the Vortex, and they can't respond to it because they have to negate the activation. They can only negate activation. These aren't activating effects, they're just effects that go off, I guess is the best way to put it. So in the end, they have to tribute the Naruto or the Vortex, just let them get destroyed. So I think they're the best traps in the deck, but that's it for the True King's cat traps because you can't play any more of them. But then 2 Erupt, and then 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. I decided to main deck these because as long as Electrum is around, and even if they kill Pendulum Magician off, as long as Electrum exists, other Pendulum decks will thrive. And I think that having just the Inherit going first, being able to just flip this on your opponent, and if they're playing Pendulums, you automatically win, and then if they're not, you have slowed them down enough they have to play at your pace now, and you can just go ahead and whoop them and beat them down. Erupt at 2 is something I'm testing with. I don't know how I feel about it, because I normally played it at 3, but now that I've cut down the number of Tribute Summon monsters, opening it with Amano-Iwato does absolutely nothing. It's just a dead card. So I put it down to 2 just for the sake of I'd be able to get to it or open it when I had a Tribute Summon monster. But since I'm playing less, I figured that 2 would be good. At 3, I was seeing it too much with this guy, and this guy doesn't do anything. So with it has no interaction. But then for the last 2 cards, I play 1 Judgment and 1 Imperial Order. In my previous build, if you guys remember seeing it, I played 2 strikes. And the strikes were in here to stop hand traps. Because like normally you can go first and establish a okay board, and then when you went to go second, your opponent would have hand trapped or drawn into a hand trap or have some way to stop you. The strikes are in here to respond to that and stop summons to kind of stop stuff. But now that I'm playing Amano-Iwato here, the fear of the hand traps and the strikes were not necessary in my opinion. I felt like Judgment would do just fine. And Imperial Order's in here too. I'm iffy on this card because I'm playing the anti-spell fragrance, but I don't want to play 3 anti-spell. I don't want to play 3 anti-spell. I want to play 2 and just try this out, and I've been enjoying it so far. Judgment is just broken. I can't say anything else about it. I mean, it's just negate anything except for a pendulum summon of more than 1 monster. Imperial Order I might take it out for a warning because I need some. I've been feeling like I need more summon negation, since Spell Fragrance already inherently hints the pendulums, and I main deck it. But it is an easy card to side out in my opinion. So that's it for the main deck. So of course, you know, I guys got to play your Giratina token because Giratina is broken. You can swing for a game with him and just win. The side deck, now just remember side deck's up to personal preference, and I don't have evenly matches, guys, so I plan on getting them eventually. So of course when I do, the side deck will change. But my side deck for this weekend and just through testing, I've been 2 system downs. ABC is a thing, but since we're in a rogue format, we're rogue and it's just the format is so diverse, if you guys probably don't remember, you should remember. You should never forget the time of the Dark Destroyer. Cosmos are also a thing, and being able to get rid of the Cosmos ships is also key. And I just want to have that versatility of having to be able to put this against Cosmo, having something against that potential Cosmo matchup and that ABC matchup. And then I play 2 Gamma-Seal. I can't, like, tribute over your opponent's monster, outs, problematic boards, and it's a good going second card. However, I put it in 1 time against an ABC matchup, and it worked in my favor that time, but I have a really love-hate relationship with this card. I think Spear Mode's better, and I just don't have Spear Modes. So this will probably get taken out for Spear Modes. And then after that, I play 2 Lancia. Lancia is just in here to counter that evenly match, and this will probably become Lancia. This will probably become evenly matches once I get them, but that's just what they're in for there. And then 2 Ogres. 2 Ogres just in there to go when you're forced to go second. You can Ogre the Electrum, Ogre their Diagram, Ogre almost anything you want, actually. And the only thing I don't like about it is it can clog with Demise, and to me, it's not worth putting these in to side out your Demises, because Demise is just so strong. So these will probably get turned into another more Floodgates or some sort of spell or anything like that. I'm still testing with it. But after that, 3 Cosmic Cyclones. This is inherently good against everything, and it's good in the mirror match. If you play the True Draco mirror match, it's good against Pin Magicians. It's good against almost anything rogue. So in my theory, I was playing too much Pendulum Hate. I was main decking Anti-Spell. I was main decking Order, and I felt like I had too much Pendulum Hate. So these were just a little bit extra just to ensure that I could get rid of the scales. But it like I said, it generically hits everything. So I mean, it's good. And then after that, I played 2 Stormings. I might actually bump one of these down for another Storming and play 3 Evenlies when I get them, or I might just take one of these out for another Storming. Amano-Iwato is great, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you get those wonk hands where you don't get to a Draco or you don't get to what you need, and you just have Amano-Iwato set with a few traps and stuff, and Amano-Iwato bounces back to your hand. So you can just get sacked for a lot. And I wanted to have a Mirror Force so that I could stop getting OTK'd with having an open board, but I didn't want to play Drowning in case I had a Maiden or a Masterpiece. I wanted to have this to out the Beals. I wanted to have this to just out a giant established board, and still testing with it, but so far I like the idea, the concept of it, so it may come out, it may stay, just got to test more with it. And then finally, one Regeki and one Dark Hole. I never sided these in. In fact, I haven't put these in my side deck for a while because I felt like they were not needed. I felt like I could just easily break a board with True Dracos without these guys. But I needed 2 extra cards to put in, and I decided to put these in. And so far, I've not even had to put them in once. But I guess if the occasion ever comes up, I have them. But all right, guys, that is it for the deck profile. Please comment, like, and subscribe. We are at, I think, 68 subscribers, and once we reach 100, we're going to do a MetaMat giveaway. We're going to have our own custom MetaMat made, and I think that it's going to be our banner. I think that's what me and Shane were talking about, was making it our banner on our YouTube or doing a custom clock image. We don't know yet, but once we reach 100 subscribers, we're going to do that giveaway. Please comment in your opinions. Help us out if you've played True Dracos and you know of any spicy techs or any other cards I don't know about. Please say your opinion. Give us a like and subscribe. Check out our other videos and stay tuned for more deck profiles. And we're about ready to go through something I think we're going to call it tea time. It's going to be a time where we record a duel video and do a commentary on it. And then the purpose of the duel video is we're going to be testing out cards that we've been trying to push into our deck or just want to test. So please stay tuned for that, and thank you guys so much for your support. Stay tuned for more.